Hi everyone, it's Kathy Rose Creations. I'm back. I know it's been a while since I've done a video. Those of you that follow my channel know I went to Ohio to see family, including my two great nieces, and we were going to do projects. I had made the little bookmark thing that Victor of Mr. Victor Crafter had showed on his YouTube channel. But we were so busy. I mean, we were so busy. We went from one thing to another, and then they were in school, and I mean, there was a dance recital, and we had a wonderful time. But it was like, okay, we don't have time to do projects. But my sister and I are going back in December for Christmas, and so we'll do our projects then. Anyway, I thought I'd show quickly a few of the little things that I've been working on. Again, if you follow my channel, I've made a couple ATCs. It's not my favorite activity art-wise because I'm not fond of working on a small palette or a small surface. I like big things, you know, big canvases and, you know, journals and things like that. But I did a couple for some giveaway, you know, challenges and stuff like that, and they were kind of fun. So I started doing some more, and I thought I would show them to you. And some of them are I'm really proud of. Some of them I just love. Some of them not so much. So very quickly, I did show some on a previous video, and I don't remember which one. So if I'm repeating myself, consider it my age. This is one right here, and that is a paper napkin, and the paper napkin is from the B&B that my sister stayed at in Madison, Ohio. It's called Winans House, and our innkeepers were absolutely fabulous. The B&B was fabulous, and every evening when we'd get back, there was like snacks on a buffet, and we'd take them up to our room, and she had napkins there, and so I always took a couple napkins, and I wasn't messy, so I brought some home with me to make an ATC. So Georgia, if you're watching, that's your napkin. Then I'm playing around with watercolor. Again, not my favorite pastime, but I'm trying to stretch myself. I've been watching a lot of Gina Ahrens and her Watercolor Wednesdays. Oh, I love them. I love the look of them. I'm not quite achieving the same thing. This is one that I did, and again, it's okay. It's kind of like a scene with mountains and the sky and the flowers, and I had to use some acrylic for the little yellow flowers because the watercolor wasn't showing up. I wasn't doing really well with those. Okay, I need to explain a little something about a couple of these. Like this one. Little funky lady here with her blue hair and everything. Oops, where's my camera? There's my camera. I painted a watercolor face. It was terrible. But I don't like to waste anything, so I took and chopped it all up into ATCs. Some of the ATCs I actually used parts of the watercolor that I had done, and this was like a little part of it, and I just kind of enhanced it, and it says put your best face forward. Let's see. This I'll go in order, otherwise I'll forget where I was. This one I think I showed before, but this is a silhouette that I cut out. Then I used little paper strips and some bling, and I doodled a little on her, and then I put it on book pages, and I put it on the corrugated cardboard. That's one of my favorite cards. I really love it. This is another napkin that I had bought somewhere, and I thought it turned out really good, and I had this little metal do funny, and I think it was part of an earring, and I pounded it down so that I made some indentions in it, and I sprayed it with alcohol ink and put a little bling on the end, and I love it. Now, my ATCs aren't as fancy as some people's, but, you know, that's my thing. I don't like this one, but it is what it is. It just says bird, and it says tweet. And again, it was one of my attempts at doing some watercolor. I think the bird's really weird looking. But anyhow, you know, I'm still new at watercolors. This one I painted with some bronzy gold and some silver, and it has all kinds of things on it. It's got, these are the little sachets that Harney and Sons tea comes in, and their Paris tea is my absolute totally favorite tea. And when I'm done with the tea bags or tea sachets, I always rinse them out and then save them because they're like organza. They make great little embellishments. And then this is a little metal daisy that I painted. And then I got some of this bling where I got it at Walmart where you get like a whole roll of it. It's weird. I thought it was like little sets, but it's not. It's just fake bling, but it works. Hey, it works. This is another one that I painted, kind of a silver and a bronze. I kind of mixed them up together. And I really like, I put a little bit of, what the heck's this stuff called? This stuff, right here. What's it called? I got a brain fart. Okay. And then I put a butterfly that I got at Michael's on it, and behind the butterfly there's a little piece of lace that I cut out of a ratty tablecloth that I got at an estate sale, and then I put the word butterfly. Oh, and I doodled a little shape thing on there. So this is another watercolor, and it's kind of a mix because it's partly watercolor and partly acrylic. I have such a glare, I can't see whether I'm in camera range or not. I'm going to edit this and I'll have to do it over again. Okay, again, it's partly watercolor, and mostly the background, and then I used acrylics on it. And it's supposed to be a beach, and it's supposed to be a wave. Doesn't look anything like a wave. So, I don't know. Maybe it's a wave on some strange planet. And speaking of strange planets, I call this one nebula. I don't know why. I kind of like the word nebula. I don't even know what it means. I don't remember. I did take science in high school and in college, but I don't remember what it was. I have trouble remembering what I had for breakfast this morning. But I painted watercolor in the background, and then I used acrylics, and instead of acrylics, I used fabric paint. You know, that dimensional stuff that back in the 80s we used to, you know, draw on our t-shirts and things like that. I had a ton of it, and I never throw anything away, and I'm like, okay, it's probably no good, but, you know, it is. And it's kind of elastic, so if you're using it, it bends. And, you know, I did little stars, and then I used a little deer and a little part that I found in my junk box that I keep little parts in. This one, I painted it with that fabric paint, and it's really weird because it's real plastic-like. Feels wet, but it's not. And I have this, I did these rings, but they look too much like the Olympic rings. So I glued a big C on it, which is actually another broken earring. And I put a little fabric rose on a little piece of cardstock with my name. Get it? Kathy Rose. Kathy Rose Creations. I thought that was so clever. And of course, I glued it on with my absolute, totally favorite glue. Love E-6000. E-6000, you are the best. I mean, I use it on everything, and I'm, except maybe paper to paper. And I know it probably isn't for that. It's industrial strength. But I like it so much better than super glue because it doesn't stick to your fingers as easily. I mean, I had my fingers super glued together years ago. Oh, was that painful. Had to pour acetone on them until they came apart. Ugh. And this one, again, I painted it and I put a little burlap. That's the word. This stuff is burlap. Okay, I put a little burlap and I put a key. I bought some gears and some key and stuff because I've got a steampunk project in my brain that one of these days I'm going to throw up that steampunk project and work on it. I haven't quite figured out exactly where I'm going with it, so I have to keep working on it a little. This one isn't finished. It was smaller than an ATC size, so I glued it onto an ATC size cardstock or cardstock. Of course, when I went to put some weight on it to make sure it stuck, it moved. But now I kind of like it that way. So anyhow, I'm going to do something else with it too. I painted it and everything. And I showed you the funky lady with the blue hair. She's really weird. She's got the weirdest face. I don't know if you can see her eyes. Yeah, I don't do eyes. She's got just one big black dot. That's her eyes. She had a bad day with the mascara this morning. Okay, I have to blame Josie Gito in Italy. Josie, I love you. I love your art. Everything you do is so beautiful, and you are so extremely talented. But you drive me crazy. You're always doing something, and as soon as I watch it, I'm like, ooh, I got to try that. I got to try that. Altered envelopes. I'm still making those freaking altered envelopes. I don't know what. I give them away to everybody. I love them. I love making them. They are so much fun. And she does inchies and 2 inchies. Well, of course, with my messed up watercolor paper, I had some that weren't ATC size, so I was going to throw it away. And I'm like, no, you don't throw anything away, Kathy. So I made a 2 inchy, just kind of abstract. The background on it is part of that funky watercolor face that I did. And then I stamped with paint using a lid. And I put some of that dimensional t-shirt fabric glue, paint. And then these are inchies. Not 2 inches, but inchies. Aren't they cute? But unlike most normal people, I didn't do mine until after I cut them down to 2 inch or inchy size. So they were a real challenge for somebody that's not into doing itty bitty things. So this one I just put a 3 on it. It's a little plastic 3 that I painted bronze. And again, you know, a little bit of sparkle, glitter glue and stuff. And here's 2 more. And I was trying to figure out, well, what the heck are you going to do with these, Kathy? But I noticed that, you know, I could put them on journal pages, or I could put them on these ATCs or something. I might put it on the one that needs something here. But Josie, you created a monster again. Okay, I did that. And then, whoops, I'm dropping crap all over the place here. My paint's not quite dry on those inches and 2 inches, so I probably dropped it on the carpet, and now I'm going to have dog hair on it or cat hair. This is my Inspiration Freedom Journal thingy, and I had showed this. I did a flip through of it a while back, and I got a lot of comments on this cityscape. Everybody loved it. And I was so excited because it didn't turn out the way I thought it would, but it turned out better. And it was so much fun to do. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to try something different, something similar to this, because doing that, maybe I'll do houses instead of a city. I don't know. My dragon, the guy with the face coming out of the dragon and says, if you can't stand the heat, don't tickle the dragon. Boy, is that true. This is my attempt at, the Art Sherpa did a video on a girl in the rain with an umbrella. So I tried it. It didn't turn out that great. So, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. So, again, I'm not giving up on the watercolor thing. So, I did another watercolor, and this time I did a tree. I love drawing trees. This was kind of unusual for me because usually I like to do leaves on my trees. I like to do dimensional, like paper leaves or something, and collage them on there. But this time I just used some of that dimensional fabric paint and did all kinds of little blobs on it. I still have my E-6000 in my hand. I love my E-6000. I glued these little wooden parts on with my E-6000. E-6000 company. You can send me a train car full of that stuff. I love it. But I painted it with some of that dimensional fabric paint, and then I used some acrylics. I had these little tiles that I got at Tuesday morning. I don't know what they're for. Maybe they're just for crafting. But I really, really like them. They're very pretty. They came in some different colors. And they made good steps, and then I put some of my wooden people coming down the steps, and some of that burlap, and I made kind of a nest thing with the birds. I had the little chipboard birds, and I stuck a feather in there, and I have a bird up in the tree, a little cardinal. We don't have cardinals in California. I really miss seeing them. In Ohio, you have cardinals all the time. And when I was out there were robins all over the place, and I don't see robins out here either. I don't know why. I think it's just too hot, usually. It's been dark and gloomy and rainy, which is good. I mean, we like the rain right now. Okay, here's another watercolor I did. Boy, this is a bad thing to do watercolor in. This is one of those, what do you call them? Composition books, and I glued a couple pages together, and then I gessoed. But I mean, it's not a good thing for watercolor. So I bought some watercolor paper back when Strathmore had theirs on sale, and so I'm not going to do any more watercolor in here. I was just kind of messing around with it, but I thought it turned out okay. I mean, it's kind of weird. It's a field with some trees and bushes in it, and when in the gesso, I scraped it with a credit card and made lines so that you can feel the dimensions where the grass is. So I think that was all in this journal. Okay. I don't know how many minutes I'm going here. Ooh, 18. Gotta hurry. Don't want long videos. This is my paper doll book. And I've done a flip through of it a couple times actually. But my one niece, McKenna, the youngest one, she's 4, almost 5. She is nuts. She is obsessed with the color pink. Pink, 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 pink. So I did a gown. I drew the gown, and then I drew it on watercolor paper so that it was sturdy, and then I did paint it with watercolor. Then I put glitter on it, and I painted it with some glittery paint, and then I stuck a butterfly on there that I have like a whole sheet of these things. I think I got them in Michael's, and I painted that with some glittery stuff, and I put her name up there, and it's backed with music paper that I put a piece of tissue over the top. And thank you, Mr. Victor Crafter. That was his idea. Never thought of it myself. I think that was extremely creative. I do it all the time now. Not just with music paper, but with book pages too. And then I used some spackling compound, and I did some stenciling on it. And I'm going to have a page here for Haley, my other niece's dress, but I haven't drawn hers yet. And this was a doll, a paper doll that I drew years ago, and she's been in my box. I'm trying to get them all out of the box and into some kind of book or something. They get backgrounds and everything on them. And I drew her. She had a plain yellow dress that I had done with, I think I did them with oil pastels and colored pencils. Then I did glitter glue with the sparkly stuff, the gold. Then I put some bling on her, and then I used some flat back pearl. No, I used regular pearls on a string type thing. And I glued them in her hair, on her dress, and then I made some wings out of a flower picture, and I glued the string pearls onto the wings with my handy dandy E-6000. But I think she turned out really good. But the paper doll book is getting kind of fat, and it's like, I'm afraid it's going to come apart. So I may only do a few more pages and take the rest of the pages out and just use the paper for something else. And then I'm going to start a paper doll book in a better binder. Maybe a loose leaf might be a better idea. So that's what I've been up to, everyone. And sorry I didn't video. It's taken me a while to recoup from being traveling. God, you know, I used to love to fly. I mean, I've flown all over, everywhere, and I used to love it. My dad had a pilot's license. I started flying when I was 6 months old. And nowadays, it's a torture chamber. Ugh. And I get to do it again in December. But in December, I'm going first class. So, not that that's a big deal, but you get free drinks. Ha. Anyway, that's it for now, and I'm glad to be back. I'm going to try to do more videos, and I find that if I do process videos, they're really, really long. So I'm trying to do my stuff and then show it to you and tell you how I did it. And if you don't like that, let me know in the comments. If it's okay with you that I do that, let me know. I'm a terrible editor, so I'm getting better, but it's still not really, really good. I'm learning iMovie better than I used to. Anyway, everybody, be nice to each other. It's a small world. Literally. Oh, God, I said that phrase, and now it's going to be in my head forever. It's the Disney virus song. Okay, anyway. Be nice to each other, and peace, everyone.